Hello everybody, it's Friday the 5th of February and this is your history lesson. Following on from when we looked at artifacts last week from Anglo-Saxon period, we're going to carry that on and we are going to design our own funeral treasure. So for this you'll need paper and pencils. You might want to get your felt tips, your coloured pencils, coloured paper for this activity, and we'll get started. What we're going to look at today is a place called Sutton Hoo, and you can see Sutton Hoo is here on our map of Great Britain. We live in Manchester, which is here, and Sutton Hoo is down here in a county called Suffolk. In Anglo-Saxon times, when England was split into its 7 kingdoms, Sutton Hoo was located here. So just in between East Anglia and Essex. And at Sutton Hoo there was a lady called Edith Pretty. You can see 2 pictures of her there. One's a photo and one is a painting. And she bought this rather large house in Sutton Hoo, and it came with this lovely house but also came with lots and lots of land. And when she bought that land, you can see it came with lots of different fields for farming, a few foresty areas. But one of the strange parts of it was this field here. And it was strange because everywhere else was flat. But in this field, it had these strange mounds. There were quite a few of them. And she felt that there was something special about these mounds. And she wanted to find out about them. She wanted to know, is there anything under there? Why are there mounds here? And what she did is she hired this man called Basil Brown, and he was an excavator. So his job was to dig, basically. He was extremely good at digging, and he would be digging for different artifacts. He wasn't an archaeologist. As we know from last week, an archaeologist is somebody who looks for, digs and finds and identifies treasure. He didn't go to college or university to learn to be an archaeologist. He was an excavator, but he was very knowledgeable. He knew a lot through his years of digging with his father and through his experiences around the country digging. He became really, really good and an expert at looking and locating and knowing what to find. So he was hired to dig the mounds and find out, was there anything under there? This is an idea of what some of the mounds were. So they weren't small, they were really quite large. And again, you can understand if you look around, everywhere else is flat, but there are these strange mounds. And there's nearly over 10 of them. So they wanted to find out, there's got to be something here. Something strange is going on. I wonder what there must be there. So in 1939, they started digging one of the mounds and they began to uncover what they soon found to be an Anglo-Saxon ship. And they had to call in extra help and extra people, more specialists, more archaeologists to come and dig to find out what else was down there. And it took many, many months to dig slowly and carefully. And what they managed to uncover was an Anglo-Saxon ship. And in that Anglo-Saxon ship, they also uncovered many, many different treasures. The ship here, you can see it says they measured it, it was 89 feet long. And this is the same as 15 tall men lying down. So you can see how long it was, and you can see they needed ladders to get down. Alright, then they needed planks of wood walking across so they didn't stand on it to damage anything. And you can see the shape here, and what it looks like, these parts here were metal, these round curved parts, and these parts remained. It looks like we can see planks of wood going all the way down, but unfortunately because of the soil and because of the compactness and how squashed down the soil was, the wood had rotted away. So even though it looked like there was wood there, it was really just an imprint And all that did really remain of the ship were these metal curved parts of the frame. By looking back and working out and examining different parts of it, they dated the ship and its contents inside back to the 7th century. So that's between 600 AD and 700 AD. So we're looking at now, that's nearly 1,400 years old, this ship. And here you can see, this is a photo taken nowadays, and this is the remaining parts of the ship. Like I said, all the wood had rotted away, but it was just the main metal frame that was able to recover from the soil, and that's all that's left of the ship. And what they've worked out is they were thinking, well, hang on, why is there this ship in this middle of this farmland? How on earth did they get it there? And they must have worked out, they feel that the ship would have been dragged from the river nearby where the mounds are, and it was quite a distance and would have needed hundreds of men. So just imagine how long and how hard it would have taken hundreds of men to drag this special ship all the way out to here. So whoever was buried in this ship was a very, very important person. And here are some pictures that people drew of what they think the ship looked like. You can see inside they feel it was a funeral ship. So it would have been buried with a very important person inside with his treasures to take to the next world. So you can see what they found and what they think the inside of the ship would have looked like. Now we're going to look at some of the artifacts that they found. And right now these artifacts are in the London Museum. You can actually go and see them. So these are the things that they found. They found a shield. They found a helmet. So on the left is how they found it when they recovered it. And then they managed to clean it off, and they've made a replica to show possibly what it would have looked like originally. These are some shoulder clasps. So these would have gone on the shoulder of the armor of the king or warlord that was buried. Here we have a belt buckle, an intricate, really detailed belt buckle, which gives you an idea of how skilled and detailed the craftspeople were in Anglo-Saxon times, that they could make something out of gold with such detail. And here you have a purse lid. So this would have been maybe attached to something made of leather or another material that didn't survive, but the purse lid would have. Again, you can see the really intricate and delicate detail of jewels and other things that were placed on it. There was a sword found. The handle seemed to be okay and seemed to survive being buried underground for 1,400 years, but other parts may not have. Coins were found, and if coins were found, then this also tells us that the Anglo-Saxons traded and bought things. Sometimes the coins were added onto jewelry, but a lot of the time, like we use now, coins were used for buying and trading. This was the buckle from a sword belt. This, I'm not too sure what this is. Maybe you might know and let me know. But it was made from something called whetstone, which is a type of rock. So maybe you can find out. What do you think this was? I would have looked at it and maybe thought, is it a candle holder? But it has that deer, that stag at the very top. So maybe it's not when I first saw it. I'm not too sure. What do you think it might have been? There was a hanging bowl found, so maybe this was something that food would have been cooked on, possibly. What else do you think this hanging bowl would have been used for? And finally, silver bowls and spoons were found as well. So this is your task. Looking back and looking at those different artifacts, can you design your own treasure to go in your funeral boat? If you were an Anglo-Saxon king or queen, what treasure would you put in your vessel to take to the next world? Use the artifacts found at Sutton Hoo as ideas and inspiration. So I'd really like to see lots of extravagant designs. If you were to take a shield, a sword, a brooch, a belt buckle, can you design yours really carefully, and how would you make them nice and intricate like the Anglo-Saxons used theirs? Really look forward to seeing some fantastic designs. What we've got here, this is a little bonus for you to maybe you can do over the weekend. If you have Netflix at home, there's a new film been put on called The Dig. It only came on last week, and it's actually about Sutton Hoo. And it's a film with some really good actors in who play Edith and play Basil and other people involved in the dig and discovering this Anglo-Saxon ship. And a letter has been sent to your parents through parent mail saying that if you would like to, if your family think it's okay, then you can watch this film. The letter's been sent because it is a 12, and there may be a couple of scenes that your family might want to watch first to check it's okay for you to see. But like I said, I watched it over the weekend and it was a really lovely film. I really enjoyed it. It's a lovely film, lots of different scenes and lots of lovely scenery and great imagery throughout the movie. And you get to see the relationship between the characters and how they felt about each other. So if you want to, you can talk to your family about watching that this weekend. Also, on the web pages, you can see there's another video for you to watch and some websites as well that you can go to that have a little bit more information about Sutton Hoo. But I look forward to seeing your designs for your funeral treasure, and make sure you send them in to me. Good luck.